Hi, Kathy here from Kathy's Cute Creations, and good morning to all my YouTubers. Today we're going to be continuing with the block of the month, the Murder Mystery in Hawaii at the Luau, and it is block 3, and I'm not going to tell you to start out with what it's called. I want you to try to think as I put it together what it is. Like the last one was the leaves, the one before that was the flower, and then I want you to guess because before I read the title, I'm looking at the picture and I'm trying to figure out what the heck it is, and it never dawned on me it is what it is. But it's like, oh my gosh, I was asking my coworkers, well, what do you think this is? And they're all saying they don't know either, and I thought it was some kind of flower, but you know, I'm not too good at naming all the flowers, so I'll let you guys decide, and then I'll let you know at the tail end what it is. Some of you probably will guess it. Now, also in the last one, I told you I was going to reread the first 2 chapters, and then we're going to try to figure out who the victim is based on the information. So while I'm putting this together and showing you, I will be discussing the first 2 chapters so we can try to figure out who the victim is before I go ahead and tell you. I kind of had it figured out. I wasn't totally sure. The person I had right, but the identity of who the person was to somebody else, that's the part I didn't have because I wasn't quite sure, and I'll explain it when I'm sewing. So let's get over here to the sewing machine and we'll get started on this block. It won't take long, but it is a lot of little pieces. One more thing I did want to tell you, I got one of those, I think they're called book holders from the Fat Quarter Shop. I will show it to you real quick, and I'll show you how I have my pattern set up, because it used to be, I just laid my pattern here on the table. The disadvantage was it was constantly being moved around, because every time I turn around, I'm having to shift my fabric and everything to get it out here, because this fabric doesn't come in all fat quarters. It's actually like yardage, so it takes up more room on the table. So I was moving my pattern around based on how I had to cut the fabric, but I'm going to show you real quick. Here's the thing I was talking to you about that I got for my pattern. And the little, up here, these little magnets, they're covering what this is called. So anyway, that's what it is right there. Here's the design on that when I took off my pattern. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my design board up there. Let's see if it'll work without knocking everything off. Nope, there we go. Let's see here. Whoops, my little pieces do not want to stay. There's too many in the stack, that's the problem. Yeah. There's like 12 pieces of these little ones. 12 pieces of those little ones down there. There we go, I leaned it a little bit more. So for those of you that are following along, there are 5 colors. There's 3 different kind of blues, a green, and a yellow to make in this. Well, the very first thing I've got is a GB1, and they are these little 1 1/4. You can see how little this is. Just to give you an idea, there's the foot of my machine. 12 of them. There's also 12 1/4 inch bigger. So this one is 1 1/2 by 1 1/2 inch. 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 and 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take the 1 1/4 and we're going to put it with the green. Now it says the strips, but I don't see the strip very long at all. I had to stop. I had not even cut all my long pieces out. So I went back to the cutting board, cut out these green ones. So the first thing that I did was I marked all my little bitty blue pieces. And then this is how you're supposed to put them on, all the green rectangles. And they're going to be opposites of each other. So that's what I've done first. Now I'm going to sew all these. Now if you're following along, I changed up my green because the directions don't show you having 2 different greens. I wanted to have 2 different greens. Now when I sew this here, I am going to stay on the right side of the line because I put the line straight down. And if I go straight down the line, I'll be short on my fabric when I cut this off and fold it over. So I'm going to go a little bit to the right. There we go. And we begin. And I don't know if that's going to be enough or not. Whoops, it jumped my pen. And let's see what we got here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain stitch these. If I can, I'm going to. Let's put it that way. I'm going to attempt to, but you know, these little things, they are very tricky for me. Not that I can't see them, but oh my goodness, they're just tricky. Alright, that one seemed to work. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the story. Okay. I'm one of those people that writes everything down. So let me start with chapter 1. So we know that Kitty is I'm going to call her our heroine in our story. The story is taking place in Hawaii, island of Maui. The island is, if y'all have seen it on a map, it's like the figure 8. That's about what the shape of it is. So it has different things on different parts of the island. The lady, she is the head of the Department of Anthropology, which is the lady who actually got this conference on her island. She is one of the islanders. Let me grab a little bit bigger here. And I really don't know how to pronounce her name. I think it is Elena. I forget the last name. I can't pronounce it. I'm horrible with names. Jeez. But anyway, like I said, she is a person who she grew up on the island. You know, that's her home. She is an islander. She is from Hawaii. And she's the department head. So she's the one that arranged all these speakers and everything. And Kitty she's not the keynote speaker. She is what is the second in line called? What's it called? I'm trying to think. I don't know, whatever your second speaker is. I mean, she's a specialist. That's why she's got the slot. One of the specialists. But Marcus is actually the guy who's the keynote speaker. Now, the previous chapter, the first chapter, excuse me, not the second chapter, told, and it, for some reason, I had it in my mind, I guess when I was reading it, that it had named a lot of people that came, you know, the people that were coming to this conference. But that's not what it did, because it didn't list that many people. All it talked about was Kitty herself, Marcus, which was the keynote speaker. He's a little older than Kitty. It talked about Alana, the lady that headed the department. And then there was a girl that was called Lacey. She is a visiting graduate student. She's a young 20, blonde, I want to say thin, willowy, whatever you want to call it. I call that a little extra thin. I don't know. But anyway, that's the people she named. And then she named another one, which she didn't really say too much about, which was Dr. Kale. So really that's the only people that were mentioned in that first one. And then they did mention that the pit, because, you know, you're thinking about this. I was getting to thinking about the body in the pit. You know, if it was like crammed in there or something. I mean, you know, pigs come in all different sizes, and I don't really know the size that you would use in a luau. But anyway, the pit was 12 feet long and 8 feet across, so that's a pretty good sized pit. I didn't realize they were that big. So now I can kind of understand how a body could end up in that pit and you wouldn't even know it. I mean, it was a good size. Shoot, it probably could have had a couple of pigs in there being roasted. I mean, then they may do that. They may roast a couple together. I don't know. Well, anyway, so the other person that they actually named in the second chapter. And this is where I'm not quite sure who this person is. Her name is Angela. Now, they said she hadn't arrived yet. And she's somehow related to Marcus, but I didn't know if she was like a colleague, girlfriend, fiance, wife. I just know that she wasn't present at the luau. Okay? And of course, it's not saying, I mean, that's just the other individual. All right? And the reason I say connected to Marcus is because they had said something about she didn't come when Marcus came, and he had said she was coming later. That's why I wasn't quite sure. I mean, there aren't any children. Let me cut my fabric here. They didn't mention any kids coming, so I'm going to guess that this is strictly adult function. This isn't a family thing, you know, where you can bring your family and all. So that's why I didn't know what this other girl was that was mentioned. But anyway, so she supposedly was coming later. So then I was trying to figure out because all I did was when my email came saying that this block was ready, I just downloaded the block. I didn't do the chapter yet. I wanted to wait because I want to guess, try to see if, based on what they've said so far, I figure that they're going to be exposing the body, so we're going to know who it is. Well, then, so the first thing I got to think about, well, first off, it's going to have to be one of these people that were supposed to go to this luau. Because if not, why would Kate even be involved in trying to figure it out? She apparently is going to either know them or they're related to one of these people that came to this conference. I mean, that's just my, you know, that's me, my little detective mind trying to figure it out. I could be totally wrong, but I'm just saying. But anyway, so then I went ahead and I'm trying to analyze who it could be. Well, it didn't mention that Kitty had a partner. It didn't mention that Alana had a husband. The only person it mentioned that it would seem is the girl that's missing, that Angela girl. It never said Angela's last name. That's why I don't know who Angela is and who she's connected to. Okay? So it's not as if we can actually, I mean, we're just taking guesses. We're not going to, it's not that we're going to be right or wrong. We're just doing assumptions based on what we've read so far, what I've read so far. And if you guys have this, if you're doing this and you signed up for it and you're following it, you might be guessing as to who it is too. Well, anyway, so then like I said, I took notes. So then in chapter 3, it talks about the coroner. Now, the coroner is a lady, and she also is a islander, and their coroner was selected, like, I guess like you, I don't know how you would be selecting the coroner, but it's not as if she was a coroner. They just, I guess they elected her for their island to be the coroner. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, her name, and I can't pronounce it, but I think it's Noelani is how you pronounce her name, but I'm not sure. I'm just going by the spelling, trying to figure it out. And I'm going to call her Noelle because I don't know. But anyway, so, you know, Kitty's all involved in this, wanting to try to figure it out. Probably curiosity, the way the lady passed. I mean, not the lady, shucks. The way that I think that is the lady. I mean, I'm thinking it was the lady that they mentioned that hadn't arrived yet. That's the only person I can figure out who passed away, or it has to be somebody else's spouse. That they didn't tell us there was a spouse. But anywho. So I'm guessing it's a woman that I'm the Angela girl. That's who I'm thinking was the victim. I'm calling it a victim because, I mean, this is a crime. We're solving a mystery. That's why I'm saying it's a crime. All right. So anywho, so moving right along. So Kitty introduced herself. The lady, they talked a little bit, and she explained, you know, I mean, this is a small island that they don't have many murders here. It's just, you know, robberies. I think she said they had 100% unemployment. Okay? Even though people have to make ends meet, they still got 100% employment because of the island. So then the coroner explains a little bit about how death is treated, a regular death, you know, somebody just passed away, you know, in their sleep, that kind of thing. How they treat it. So she learned about that kind of thing. That they explained that in the story. Let's see. And Noelle believes that spirits are at work, and she called it something else. I can't, weird body things or something like that. But she said that she thinks that the spirits are involved because this person didn't die in her sleep or, you know, an accident of some sort. So that's why she calls it that. And that's why she believes spirits have to do with it. Because the lady wasn't shot or anything like that. That's what Noelle thinks. So anyway, the people that are clearing the banana leaves and the debris and all that stuff that's in the pit, they're a different crew of guys. Now these guys came from the mainland, so they're not from. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna cut these. Now, do you remember how we cut these? This is one of those rulers that's got the 1/4 inch on this side. So I put it on the stitching line itself. And then all I do is cut off the corner. And then I'll take it over there and I'll iron it like that. And then that meets up like that, and it'll look just like that. Alrighty, so just cut them all off if you're following along. I'll iron these, open them up, and I'll get right back with you. When you finish sewing them, then you've cut them, then you pressed your seams and opened them and ironed them. They will all look like this. So you have 6 longer ones and 6 shorter ones. So let's go to the next step. Now for the next part, they want you to take the, I'm calling it the second blue color. I'm not sure if it's your second one, third one, or whatever, but it's the second one we're going to be using. And you're going to repeat the process. You're going to have 6 on the left and 6 on the right. And they're going to be called B right and B left. And the way that they're calling them, right and left, is actually, even though you might think this is on the left, but they're basing it on this fabric. So this little piece we put on is on the right, so this is called B right. And the same thing with the green ones. So let's go ahead and sew all these like we did the others. Alright, so while I sew these, I will go ahead and discuss some more on the chapters. So anyway, Kitty kind of got herself in there. The corner was glad in a way because she'd never done this before, so she was glad that Kitty more or less volunteered. So it was like a life jacket in a pool. She grabbed it. So anyway, then it came time where, like I said, these guys that were off the island, it had nothing to do with the island. They were the ones that were taking the pictures, because in a crime scene, you know, you got to mark everything. You got to take pictures. At least that's the way it is on television. I know you've seen it on TV where they got the little markers out on the road and everything. Let's get this over a little bit. Okay. Well, anyway, they were down to the last section. They'd bagged up all the leaves and everything. And whatever else that they had to bag up. I don't know if they had to bag up soil or whatever. I'm not quite sure. But anywho, so they went ahead and went over there to Nicole. And they told her they were ready. And so she said, ready? And he goes, yeah. He goes, we're down to the exposing of the body. And they didn't really want to do it. I mean, these guys are just your cameraman guy. They thought that it was the coroner's job to do it. So, of course, the coroner, she didn't want to do it. So then she looks over there at Kitty and she says, okay. And then Kitty goes, what? She goes, yeah, you can do it. So Kitty had to do it. So they were down to just 2 leaves. So she moved the first leaf. That's when we discovered it was a female. So I figured right then and there I was right. Unless it was another female. I mean, I wasn't quite positive yet on my guess. But all it showed was earrings and hair when the leaf got removed. So when she removed the second one, of course, they're both looking in the pit, you know, but at different angles. They're not both standing over each other. And Kitty didn't recognize her at all. But then when she looked up at me, she realized Naomi knew her. And so she said, do you know her? And she said, yes. She said, that's Marcus's wife. And that's when Kitty said, well, I thought she was coming later. And she said, yeah, well, apparently she arrived here sooner than we thought. And that was the end of the chapter 3. So now we have to figure out when, well, I'm not sure when, but anyway, so now I'm thinking, so when did it happen? Because it would have happened before they got on the island because of the burial of the pit. Remember, that pit was dug the day before, something like 36 hours before they even got there for that conference. So somehow she'd already gotten on the island. Here her husband had been waiting for her. He was kind of glad she hadn't even shown up yet because he didn't want her to see this. And he has not been told yet. So probably the next chapter will be where they tell everybody and then they kind of try to figure out when she got here and all that kind of thing. So that's it for the chapters. The three of them anyway. Now what you got to do is figure out, when I get done putting all these things together, what this picture is. That's what I'm calling it, a picture. There's what those look like now. So we're going to set these aside. So now it's introducing us, excuse me, to the third color of blue, which mine is a dark one. So we're going to take this unit. Let me find out. They're calling this the right unit because of this. This is the left because it was this way when we made it, but we turn it upside down. These are going opposites. We're taking the little one and we're connecting to this, and the big one connecting to that. Let me back up. This longer one to this one. Now these are the same size, just the little pieces were put on differently. And now that I'm looking at it, I didn't cut the piece off of this one here. So I need to go back and cut that real quick. Okay, so you want to go ahead and do all of these. I just pinned them right where that overlap of the seam was to keep it straight. And just chain stitch them, do them all. That's what I'm doing. I only pinned them so that they wouldn't flip up on me. And then I'll be back. We have what looks like this. All these little ones are going up. All these little ones are going down. They look like the same color, but because this is a little bit darker, it doesn't blend in. There we go. Let's go like this. You can see it. There we go. Now it looks like we're going to put the little green pieces on the ends of our larger ones. And of course I got two different colors of green, so let me get them out here. You can tell that I cut out some of these green ones here, these dark greens, because I wasn't quite sure how they were being placed. But I kind of like the light ones on there. I'm debating. Let me give it a minute to think, and then I'll pin them all together and we'll get them something. Go ahead, I'm going to chain stitch these. I put a pin in each one just to hold it. So you all need to do the same thing if you're following along. Now when you're done and you've ironed them and you've opened them up, you got 6 of them that look like that. So let's go ahead and we're going to sew all the yellow ones I have pinned over here. Here's what these 6 look like, and actually they're all turned around because it said to put them on the left hand side, but right now I don't think it makes a bit of difference here, but that's what they're going to look like. Alrighty, let's do the next step. Now we're going to take this unit and we're going to attach it to this unit, and we're going to making 6 of them. So let me get them all pinned and I'll show them to you. What we're going to do next. We're going to take this one we just completed. We're going to add that one, and then these two to that one. So let me pin them first. So I'm going to pin these, and then I'm going to pin these. So I'll get these 2 units sewn first. Then I'll attach this one to that, and then this one to this one on the right. When we get that first one done, this is what it looks like. So do you think it's a flower? I mean, I'll turn it every which way here for you guys to look at it. I'm telling you, when I saw the picture, I couldn't guess what it was. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the other ones and sew them up. And then I'll come back when I'm finished and show you what it looks like. So ponder on it for a minute. Now that all of these units are finished, they're having us connect this to a square, and then these 2 are different sizes. We're connecting to that, and then again down here the square to that. So let me connect this to make one of the 2 units, and I'll show it to you. All right, I went in and I pinned them all. I squared them up first, then I pinned just the section here. I'm going to do it first. Now I'm going to iron them open so we can take a look at them. Here's the last row. So have you figured it out? I'm going to get the other one done, and then I'm going to show them to you on the design wall up here. Keep thinking about what it is. Okay, there's the 2 blocks. Did you figure out what it was? It's called Creeping Vine. I hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe, ring the little bell. I know this was a challenge this month, but if you take your time, you can do it. Till next time, bye-bye.